In the shadowed fringes of an ancient Roman village nestled against the whispering pines of the Apennine forests, under a moonless sky in the year 225 AD, Marcus gripped his iron-tipped spear tighter as he plunged deeper into the underbrush. His breath came in ragged bursts, the chill night air biting at his sweat-soaked tunic. Beside him, his teenage son, Lucius, wielded a flickering torch, its flame dancing wildly against the encroaching darkness. They weren't hunting game tonight. No, this was a desperate pursuit for Marcus's youngest, little Gaius, the boy who had vanished from his bed at midnight. A piercing scream had shattered the silence of their modest stone house hours earlier, drawing Marcus from his sleep to find the child's pallet empty, the window shutter torn asunder by some unseen force. Whispers among the villagers spoke of ancient spirits haunting these woods, remnants of forgotten Etruscan curses, but Marcus had no time for tales. With a hastily gathered group, a weathered priest named Father Tertullian, clutching a wooden cross etched with early Christian symbols, and a sturdy woman named Claudia, the village herbalist armed with bundles of Malleus Maleficarum-inspired herbs like rue and vervain, they charged into the forest, hearts pounding with the raw terror of the unknown. The trees closed in like skeletal fingers, their branches clawing at the group's cloaks as they pressed on. Lucius's torch cast elongated shadows that seemed to writhe independently, mocking their every step. "Father, I hear it again! The cries!" Lucius whispered, his voice trembling. Indeed, faint whimpers echoed through the mist, drawing them toward a narrow path overgrown with thorns. Marcus's mind raced. Gaius had always been a curious child, wandering too close to the forest's edge during the day, but midnight vanishings were the stuff of nightmares, legends of haunted souls preying on the innocent. Father Tertullian muttered prayers in Latin, sprinkling holy water from a clay vial blessed in the village's hidden Christian chapel, a remnant of the persecuted faith. "The Lord protects the faithful," he intoned, but his eyes darted nervously, betraying the fear gnawing at his soul. As they delved deeper, the first twist struck like a venomous serpent. A sudden gust whipped through the canopy, extinguishing Lucius's torch in a hiss of smoke. Darkness swallowed them whole, and in that void, a shadowy figure materialized at the edge of their vision, a translucent silhouette of a woman, her form flickering like a dying flame. Claudia gasped, her herbs clutched like a talisman. "It's a spirit, one of the lost souls from the old wars." The shadow lunged, its ethereal hands outstretched, brushing against Marcus's arm with an icy burn that seared his flesh. He swung his spear wildly, but it passed through the apparition harmlessly. Panic surged. Lucius relit the torch with flint, its renewed light revealing the shadow retreating into the trees, but not before it let out a mournful wail that chilled their blood. The encounter propelled them forward. Marcus realized the spirit was leading them, or perhaps taunting them, toward the heart of the forest, where ancient ruins lay buried. The group stumbled onward, the shadow's wail echoing as a harbinger. Claudia distributed sprigs of vervain, instructing them to chew the bitter leaves for protection against malevolent forces, drawing from forbidden texts smuggled from distant lands. "These herbs ward off the uncleaned," she urged, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Father Tertullian blessed each one with a splash of holy water from a clay vial blessed in the village's hidden Christian chapel, a remnant of the persecuted faith. "The Lord protects the faithful," he intoned, but his eyes darted nervously, betraying the fear gnawing at his soul. As they delved deeper, the second twist erupted like a ferocious storm, descending without warning. Thunder cracked like the god's wrath. Rain lashed down in sheets, turning the ground to mud that sucked at their sandals. Lightning illuminated the forest in stark flashes, revealing glimpses of more shadows, ghostly children, their eyes hollow voids, circling the group like predators. One bolt struck a nearby tree, splintering it with a deafening roar. Splinters flew, and Claudia cried out as a branch grazed her shoulder, drawing blood. The ghosts closed in, their whispers turning to screams, agonized pleas for help that mimicked Gaius's voice. "Papa, help me!" The illusion was shattering. Marcus's heart twisted, but he pressed on, shouting for the others to form a circle. Protect each other, like the legions, back to back. They huddled, Father Tertullian raising his cross high, chanting exorcism rites that blended Christian fervor with pagan incantations. The holy water sizzled as it met the rain, creating a faint barrier of steam that repelled the nearest ghost. Lucius, emboldened by his father's command, thrust his torch forward, the flame hissing against the downpour. The storm's fury seemed to fuel the spirits, but their group hunting tactic held. By shielding one another, they inched through the ravine, the ghosts' screams fading as the thunder rolled on. Drenched and battered, they emerged into a clearing dominated by the ruins of an ancient temple, its marble columns cracked and overgrown with ivy. The air hummed with unnatural energy, and there at the altar's base lay Gaius, curled in a fetal position, unharmed but unresponsive, as if in a trance. Joy flickered in Marcus's chest, but it was short-lived. The third twist unveiled itself. From the temple's shadows rose a bishop-like figure, not of flesh, but of swirling darkness, a haunted soul, perhaps a long-forgotten Etruscan priest condemned for dark rituals. Its form coalesced into a towering shadow, eyes glowing like embers, and it spoke in a voice that rattled their bones. "The child is mine, payment for ancient sins." Screams erupted from unseen throats, cries for help blending with the wind's howl. The shadow attacked, tendrils of darkness lashing out, wrapping around Lucius's leg and dragging him toward the altar. Terror peaked. This was no mere apparition, but a malevolent force feeding on fear. Claudia hurled her remaining herbs, rue mixed with salt, into the shadow's core, drawing from the Malleus Maleficarum's lore of purification. The mixture ignited in a burst of ethereal fire, weakening the entity. Father Tertullian stepped forward, his cross gleaming despite the storm's remnants, reciting verses from hidden scriptures. "In nomine Patri, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti." Holy water flew from his vial, striking the shadow like acid, eliciting a shriek that shook the ruins. Marcus, seizing the moment, charged with his spear, not at the shadow, but at the altar, where an ancient idol stood, a carved stone effigy pulsing with dark energy. "For my son," he bellowed, smashing it with a mighty thrust. Shards flew, and the shadow convulsed, its form destabilizing. The climax surged into a life-or-death frenzy. The entity retaliated, engulfing the group in a vortex of freezing wind and spectral hands. Lucius fought free, grabbing Gaius and pulling him to safety behind Claudia, who formed a protective barrier with her body, shielding the child as per the village's unwritten code. Father Tertullian, now at the forefront, pressed his rosary, beads strung with olive wood, against the shadow's heart. "Begone, foul spirit, return to the abyss." The air crackled with power. The shadow's tendrils clawed at the priest, drawing blood from his arms, but he held firm. Marcus joined, stabbing repeatedly at the dissolving form, while Lucius and Claudia chanted protective incantations, their voices uniting in a chorus of defiance. The struggle teetered on the edge. Death loomed as the shadow's grip tightened, sapping their strength. But in a final desperate surge, Father Tertullian splashed the last of his holy water, combined with Claudia's herbs, directly into the entity's maw. A blinding light erupted, the shadow imploding with a thunderous wail that echoed through the forest. The ruins trembled, stones crumbling as the haunted soul dissipated into wisps of smoke, banished to whatever void had spawned it. Silence fell, broken only by the patter of receding rain. Gaius skirred, his eyes fluttering open, innocent and unscarred. "Papa," he murmured, reaching for Marcus. Relief washed over them like a cleansing tide. Marcus scooped up his son, tears mingling with the rain on his face, the weight of survival lifting from his shoulders. Lucius embraced them both, his youthful frame shaking with sobs of release.
Claudia bandaged Father Tertullian's wounds, her hands steady now, a quiet smile breaking through her exhaustion. The priest, leaning on his cross, whispered a prayer of thanksgiving, the storm's clouds parting to reveal the first hints of dawn's light filtering through the trees. They retraced their steps through the forest, the once menacing woods now hushed, as if the banishment had quelled its ancient rage. Back in the village, the sun rose over the stone houses, casting a warm glow on the streets where neighbors awaited. Whispers of the night's horrors would become legend, a tale of terror overcome through faith, unity, and the raw will to protect the innocent. Marcus held Gaius close that morning, watching the boy play in the safety of their home, the epic struggle fading into memory. Peace settled over the family, a hard-won calm, where the midnight